watches a little girl, and he's like, yeah, there's the little sister character, because he have the pet, which is Aqua. He has the erotic Dionyson, which is Whis. Erotic is the darkness, and he has the lolly character, which is Megumin. So he's like, I need a little sister character. That was very weird. That was a very weird, chapter book.
Yeah, I still stand by what I said, and that is, you don't ask your fucking audience for feedback, or you can ask them for feedback, but don't let them write your story for you.
Yeah, no. Book 9, I'm still reading.
Who are you, the fairy tale author? Jeez.
I wish he would take input from his fans. Goddamn.
maybe you'll fucking make a decision on the fucking story.
Maybe he'll write something new for once.
Yeah, no kidding. I finally just dropped Fairy Tail.
I'm not really watching it anymore. Like, I'm gonna finish it, but I'm so far behind on everything right now. I'm just like, I'm stopping. I'm not watching any more Captain Tsubasa. I'm not watching any more Fairy Tail. I'm just stopping those until I'm caught up on everything else.
Yeah. I dropped Black Clover.
You're prioritizing some stuff.
I dropped Black Clover. I dropped Fairy Tail finally, because Fairy Tail finally decided to reveal the big secret behind Natsu and everything, and I go, nope, don't like it. I'm out.
Oh my god, fucking.
And then Black Clover.
Not so
Yeah, and then Black Clover decided to basically go nowhere with everything, and
no way, really,
no way, right? So the most interesting one.
It looks like a shonen. Oh wait, it is a shonen.
I was like,
it is every shonen.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I've watched this show like just about every week. Well, at least every month for the past year and a half or something. I think I'm done. Like
I watched this show. Every week.
Well, as soon as Austin went demon mode, and then they decided to basically just kind of reset and start their idea of starting a new arc was basically not focusing on that part of it anything. They go, we're just gonna go another 50 episodes of doing nothing again.
Yeah, 7 Deadly Sins made My Hero Academia. I was like, oh look, there's something interesting happening, but let's just go. That was the same thing
in Seven Deadly Sins. Like, it just kind of reset I go, why?
Yeah, but like,
why do you do that?
Mioli does go demon mode as well, and they just reset and just go do another thing. Like, okay.
Yeah.
What about the elephant in the room?
Yes.
Yeah, I really don't like that when shonen shows do that, and that's what causes me to drop it. And Radiant.
And this is why I don't like fucking long running series, because that always happens.
Well, no, like Bleach.
Says the guy who watches Lupin.
Yeah, right. Every time it's a new
listen.
Season, nothing ever happened in the past.
Listen, okay, Lupin is different.
Oh, all right, yes, of course.
Lupin has never at any point tried to fool anyone into thinking that there's an actual story here.
Well, it's all seasonal based, so that's you know what you're. No, I do agree, Tori. I do agree with that. Yu Hakusho had a continuing thing. The original Dragon Ball Z to an extent, had a continuing story, then like full reset. So to see that happen in 2, 3, 4 straight shonens from just recent years, it's really bad. It's just lazy.
It's My Hero Academia coming in.
Yeah, I'm really worried My Hero Academia is gonna tread that line too in its next season. I hope not, but we'll see.
I can't see that. I can't see that happening too much. Like, I mean, obviously, it depends. I don't know where the story about the story, but like, at least My Hero Academia doesn't get that same problem of like, oh, sorry guys, we caught up to the manga. Time to filler.
Time to filler. Well, it's not even filler. Like, these are all canon things in those shows.
Oh, that's even worse.
That's what makes it so bad. Like, you have zero. Radiant went 21 episodes. I finally watched the last episode of that, and I go, the show does a good job. It's the only thing really Radiant does a good job of, is hinting at the world around the main character. And they did a really good job of setting up the next season. But with the way the show has gone, you as the viewer, you go, well, I know what they're gonna do with this. We already know what's gonna happen and how the show's gonna go about it. So why shall I continue then? Because I know nothing's gonna happen for another 15, 20 episodes. That's not good. That's not good writing. That's not good intrigue for the viewer. It's, as a shonen whore that I am, it's very disappointing.
People just want to spend time with the characters.
Not why I watch my medium.
People just want to like the
if I want to
characters.
spend more time with the characters, I'll rewatch the show if it was good.
I don't want to best time with the characters. Who do you think I am? A lonely Japanese boy?
Yeah.
No, I want story.
He is not a lonely Japanese boy. He is just a lonely lonely American man.
Get right. And then Shield Hero had that fucking hot springs thing. I'm like, yep, I'm out. I was already I
watched that episode and I called it. I was like, yep, this is where JD drops it. And then you go on Twitter, it's just like, yeah, I fucking dropped this. And I'm like, yes.
Maybe we should talk about that on the main show. We're recording, we'll bring it up again. Yeah, we'll bring some of this conversation up again for the show. But yeah, everything seems to be working. Shall we start?
Sure.
I like that, Tori.
2 seconds. Hold on. I'm just going to get myself something to drink first.
Yeah, I got my tea, I got my water. I got some stuff to talk about, so. Fun. Let's put my phone on silent, why don't I?
You know what? That does sound like a good idea. I always forget, and most of the time it doesn't matter, but every once in a while.
I've been getting a lot of phone calls lately from the family. My brother's getting married in a month and a half, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, good for him anyways, I guess. Not good for me, because I have to spend like $1,000 just to get there and do all the things that he wants me to do.
I just go like, sorry, I couldn't get there to play. The playing got cancelled.
Oops.
Whoopsie.
Well, he said he sent me an invitation in the mail, and I still haven't gotten it, and that was like a month ago. And I go, I don't know if it takes that long to. Well, I mean, the government was shut down, but that was in January.
Well, I mean, hasn't there been some fucking problems with the postal service in the U.S. lately, with like mail not showing up? And I know the same thing happened with like the Secret Santa stuff that everyone was doing as well. It's like shit just got held back for like ever for no reason.
Yeah, I've been getting less and less junk mail even, so that's not a good sign. I was like, where's all these credit cards I'm not going to file for?
Damn. Man, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that.
Not yet.
No, I never will have to deal with that. We don't get that type of mail.
Oh.
Thank God.
I wish I didn't.
But anyways, I'm ready.
Okay. Icky, you all set?
Yep.
That notification. Whoa.
JD.
Okay.
Close to porn.
Close the porn. Shut up, I have kinks. I need to work these out. Alright, counting down. 3, 2, 1, go. And welcome, everybody, all of our loyal fans, to the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition episode 44. I am your healthy host, JD, back for more, or partially healthy anyways. I think I came down with stage 2 of the cold. I am joined here, naturally, with my Carnival host celebrating. Hickey, how you feeling today?
No, I'm feeling great. After getting the weirdest and strongest headache and some hangover yesterday because of Carnival and shit like that. I ditched my friends today. They're going to parties. I'm here to talk about web shit with some foreigners.
Web shit with foreigners, love it.
Yeah, it's fine. They started great. Someone tried to jump out of the bridge because it's Carnival and they got betrayed by their lovers. Things like that. It's fine.
I think the most important question is, did you snort cocaine off a hot Brazilian chick's ass?
No, because I'm here talking to you. My friends are going to the parties and snorting cocaine out of Brazilian butts. I'm here.
Oh, out of the butts. They stepped it up a notch.
JD, but that was a dumb question. Remember, Hickey's trying to become a lawyer. He's legally obligated to not answer you.
He lives in Brazil. He can do coke if he wants.
Not on the record, he can't.
That is true. That is true. Let's. I don't use drugs, JD, except alcohol and tobacco from time to time, but
only legal stuff.
Only legal
stuff. Of course, I believe you. Corey, how you doing? All the way from the Norway.
I'm doing great. For some reason, I have better weather than most at the moment, which is odd. Sun and decently hot, and yeah,
it's really nice here as well. Out in the New England area.
That's
a nice winter
for you guys. I really wish I had a really bad weather. It's been so long.
I mean, I guess
45 degrees like 2 days ago. It's hot.
Yeah, I was about to say, I guess technically you could say in your case, sun and extreme heat is bad weather, but yeah.
Yeah, I really want some rain, man. Half of Brazil is like underwater because it doesn't stop raining, and I'm just sitting here looking at the television as the weather forecast goes. Yeah, it's gonna rain through the week, and not a single drop, not a single water drop comes down. It's just like, I please God, what did we do to suffer this? Just rain, please. I'm sweating a lot as well right now.
Well, anime-related news, or at least manga-related news. I made a manga purchase order the other week in the mail, and it just came in the mail yesterday. Would you guys be curious to know what I received?
Sure.
Shonen things.
You're not totally wrong.
Shocking.
Well, there's a store called Barnes and Noble, and they had an interesting kind of one-day deal going on, and where this Urusei Yatsura manga, Volume 1 was re-released, and it was half off and free shipping involved, so I hopped on that. If you're looking at the live stream, YouTube or Twitch, Red Leaf Retrocast at Bullying JD. Nice little plug for ourselves. You can see the really big manga. I think it's like 3 volumes large at first glance. It's quite big. It's really cool. I'm a big Rumiko Takahashi fan, so that was really nice. And then I just continued the Kakaguri manga, getting them up to volume 6. I mean, I've seen the show already and absolutely love it, but the manga's just as good. It's the same. Caught up on some Promised Neverland, getting that manga done. I love the show, love the manga. I'm just going to continue getting the hard copies of that. Got volumes 5 and 6. And then finally, I'm going to start Dr. Stone. I got the very first one. That was through a something affiliated with Barnes & Noble, kind of like their used books. And it's like brand fucking new. It was like $1. So that was a no-brainer. So Dr. Stone is actually coming out with an anime, I believe, in the summer.
Yes,
it does. It is this year, later this year.
Yep.
Yeah, so pretty cool.
JD went to town. He just bought a bunch of things.
I mean, I only spent about $30 on it all, so that was really cool.
I'm kind of worried though, not because of anything related to Dr. Stone, but mostly because it's coming out in the summer, and my experience with summer seasons in animes, there's generally not a whole lot of great shows.
Well, we all thought winter was going to be a great season, and then look what happened.
And I'd say it's still a pretty great season, all things considered.
It's going great for me. I'm enjoying this season.
That's not going too well for me, guys.
It's going great for me.
Well, Radiant came to an end. Black Clover ended its arc and started a new one, and then Fairy Tail revealed its big secret finally after all this time, and I essentially dropped everything. we went more in depth on the pre-show of it all, so you can go check that out on YouTube. But basically, I really hate it when these, you see it a lot more in modern day shonen, is they kind of hard reset and tell the same story over again until they get to a new villain or the same villain again. And that drives me insane. And essentially all three of them are doing it. And I just dropped all three of them. So, not to mention Shield Hero as well. That's
and I called it.
I wasn't feeling it after episode 4, and then they had a Hot Spring episode, and I just went, "Yep, I'm out."
That's not correct. They had half a Hot Spring episode.
Oh, I'm sorry. I even read a bit of the manga, and I'm like, this can't be in there, and nope.
Of course it isn't.
It's not. Yeah,
But you need your raccoon waifu.
Oh,
and
that's true. You need her because she's technically the best character in the thing. No, really, my really big problem with this season is Index. The third season, I still don't have the slightest idea of what's going on. I know they are fighting in Russia now, and like, I just want my boy Hamazura to, get a grave, just have a peaceful life. But now he's just shooting anti-material rifles into Tunguska, a Russian AA self-propelled gun. Because the Tunguska and Index was drawn wrong, so it was driving me nuts because
weird.
it was missing some parts, and some other parts were just flipped around. I was like, that is, I know what that is, because the front radar of the Tunguska is very iconical, but it was just, what the fuck is, I don't know what is going on. And then Accelerator fought with Toma again, and what the fuck is going on in that show? Like,
I mean,
it's so fucking confused.
Here's the thing, like, if you haven't seen Index before, there's quite a lot of shit happening, and the thing is, it's kind of all happening at the same time, so there's a lot of, like, you have to skip around, and then people keep switching sides, so people that were literally enemies an episode ago, all of a sudden they're showing up and be like, mind if I help out? And it's like, wait, are you evil? Hold on. Wait, I'm confused. Who are you?
Hold on a second.
There's a lot of that.
What happened to the war with the Catholics and England and France? And now they're in Russia, and there's some nuns fighting in boats.
And Carissa's just running out, going like, I need to motivate my troops. Runs out in front, bends over and goes, help me! The enemy is going to capture me and rape me to death! And then all the knights are just like, shit! Protect her!
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on.
It's hilarious.
I just sit there for 30 minutes, and I don't think I even blink. I'm just mesmerized.
Yeah.
It's like, watch it.
Index is kind of a mess, but goddamn it, it's an entertaining mess.
Like, it became a mess. I guess like the last part of the second season, with the angel thing.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then like you have this new season, it's just like, I don't care what is going on. I just know it's something is going on.
Yeah, like for what I understand, they're kind of just like skipping from like thing to thing rather than going through everything. It's like now we're done with this. Let's move on to the next thing. So it's a lot of skipping around.
Converging. That is
but
so like it's even more confusing now.
It's alright.
It's alright.
Well, we got a lot more stuff to talk about on the cast. Obviously, we have Tori's movie quest.
Yes, we do.
We'll get there in a second. Then we got another manhwa manga checkout from me and Hickey. We got the Crunchyroll Awards to go over. That happened. Interesting, I guess. And then a review of Samurai X Trust and Betrayal, the origin story of Kenshin Himura from Rurouni Kenshin. So, fun episode. Shall we get started, Tori?
Sure.
Okay. I shall lay a drop, as I do, just for you. We can get going. And there you go. Off you go, Tori. It's all yours.
Okay. I've been watching more movies, as I always do, and I am now currently into the early 2000s in my movie quest. So I finished off the 90s, and going into this podcast, I watched another 11 movies since last time.
Tori.
yeah. So what I watched was, once again, a whole lot of Loop on the Third. So a Loop on the Third, Hono no Kiko, Tokyo Crisis, Galaxy Express 3-9, Eternal Fantasy, Jin-roh, Loop on the Third, Aino da Capo, Fujiko's Unlucky Days, My Neighbors the Yamadas, Blood the Last Vampire, Loop on the Third, $1 Money Wars, Spirited Away, Loop on the Third, Alcatraz Connection, The Cat Returns, and Loop on the Third, Episode 0, First Contact. And no, I'm not going to talk about Ghibli stuff, even though I watched a lot of it. What I am going to talk about, however, is one Loop on thing, actually. And that is the last Loop on thing I watched so far, and that is Loop on the Third, Episode 0, First Contact.
Is that the original one from the 60s you're referencing, or...
No, I'm referencing...
No, yeah.
First I just said I'm in the 2000s, JD.
Oh, I know, but
So no.
you can't always go back.
I could, but I haven't done it.
The 60 thing is, I think, is like Loop on the Third pilot episode.
Yep, the pilot episode. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
it's not episode 0, it's pilot. It's just a pilot that they made. It's like, hey, it's fun. Please give us money to make it, and don't cancel the project halfway, like everything in...
And
that was more in the 80s.
Everything in the 70s and 80s?
In the 70s, 80s,
yeah. Well, Loop on never did.
So then, question before you get started, Tori.
Sure.
Are you also on a side movie quest to watch all of the Lupin movies and specials?
Basically.
Okay. I did something similar when I was going through all the Detective Conan stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm still on just like a complete Lupin craze, and I kind of want to watch everything Lupin. So since I'm doing this already, I looked at it and I was just like, sure, I'm gonna get to this eventually anyway. So let's just knock it out right now. Well, yeah. So Loop on the Third, Episode 0, First Contact, is another origin story for Lupin, essentially. So this, again, goes into that whole thing with, the different, you have part 1, which is an origin story, and you have the woman called Fujiko Mina, that's an origin story. Now you have First Contact, that is an origin story. And it basically tells the story of how the gang met for the first time. And normally, that would sound like, really the third time we have an origin story. Is that really,
yes.
is that good? And the answer to that is yes, actually, this one was really good. What I like is that ultimately it starts with Jigen being followed by this reporter who wants to report on the Lupin gang. And she's asking him a bunch of questions, trying to get answers, and he then goes into the story of how they met. So, and then, we cut back, we see Lupin, younger Lupin with no friends and trying to act solo, and we get to meet Fujiko, we get to meet Jigen and his first mission as he's working as a bodyguard for the Mafia, and he's trying to kill Lupin and stuff like that.
Well, it still sounds like it's basically the same origin story.
Ultimately, it is.
Yeah.
But what I really like is how they kind of wiggle out of that, alternate story thing at the end. Mm-hmm. Because at the end, it turns out that when they're finishing up, we cut back to Jigen telling the story, and then all of a sudden, everyone is kind of just everyone in the gang, Fujiko, Jigen, and Goemon is walking out of the dark in the alley there. And going I don't remember the story exactly like this. And it turns out that this has been Lupin the entire time, and he's just fucking around. Well, not necessarily fucking around, but, they don't specifically say that he's lying, but it's kind of just he is just once again trying to hit on a woman. So it's interesting. But everything that happens for before this, going into how Senigata got to be on the case of catching Lupin in the first place. He was originally in the US to catch Fujiko Mina. Then he met Lupin, and he was just went on to try to catch him there, seeing kind of how Lupin and Jigen became friends, and how Lupin and Goemon got to know each other, and how annoying they are to deal with when they're against each other. They're pretty similarly smart, and good at canceling each other out, but none of them are able to take each other out. So it's kind of funny. It's more of the same old Lupin hijinks with just a pretty good story, all things considered. So I enjoyed the shit out of it.
Might have to watch this one. I haven't seen this one either.
That's like, I think out of all the side stories I've seen so far, I think First Contact has to be my favorite right now.
I'll definitely have to check it out. I'm gonna add that to my list immediately because I'm a big Lupin fan, and if you want to get into Lupin, Tori, what would you say for a member of the audience to check out?
I would say if you want to get into Lupin, you should check out my YouTube channel where I have a video made on how to get into Lupin. I do not talk about First Contact because I hadn't seen it at the time, but I talk about a lot of other things like Part 1, Part 5, The Woman Called Fujigomina, as well as Castle of Cagliostro. And you can find my YouTube channel, finally, by searching Anime Top Scholar on YouTube.
Hooray!
It actually shows up now.
Hooray! Maybe that's why you're getting more views.
That's possible.
You can also find a link to his YouTube in the description of every episode as per usual. There you go.
Yes, you can. And so, let's see. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was another movie called Jin-roh from 2000s.
The Wolf Brigade.
The Wolf Brigade.
The Wolf Brigade.
Exactly.
I do have the summary and everything on the agenda for you, Tori.
You sure do.
Because I'm trying to be a better host.
So yeah, Jin-roh the Wolf Brigade is by Production IG, was made in the 2000s. Exactly 2000. The summary from the anime plan is, Constable Fuse is part of an elite special forces unit known as the Capitol Police, whose mission is to maintain peace during a time of civil unrest. Fuse becomes entangled within a web of intrigue and politics between the Capitol Police, the government, intelligence bureau, and the secret society known as Jin-roh, Wolf Brigade.
I prefer to pronounce that name Fuse.
I'm sure you do, but as I also watch this in Japanese, I've heard his name so many times now that whenever I see it, I still just see it as Fuse.
I was really hoping that you kind of checked out the dub and they say Fuse instead, because that's the kind of shit that they used to do.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks so much.
Kazuki Fuse.
Does that make you cringe, Hickey?
Fuse. Yeah, just call the guy Fuse. I mean, in the context of the movie, okay, I'll let that pass because it's a guy using this mecha suit going around with a 20mm heavy machine gun mowing down people. So
Fuse would be perfect then.
Fuse, yeah, Fuse is a good name. It's a good nickname.
My name is Fuse, but you can call me Fuse.
Fuse.
Yes.
Good play on words. Now, for those wondering, yes, we have been what's the word? Recommended for the show to cover Jin-roh later. So, Tori, you've already seen it now. Is it worth covering? Is now the question.
No. This is when I have to disappoint you all and say, no, I'm joking. Yes, I think it's very much worth it. Obviously, this was originally created by Mamoru Oshii. Although he did not direct it.
Yeah, Production IG, Max, yeah, makes sense.
But he did not direct it. But it is, obviously, there is a huge inspiration here of Western, especially European movies, as you can tell by this. And obviously, one of the big kind of metaphors, if you will, in this, it's not even a metaphor, but they do use it as a metaphor. It's they kind of like the tale of the, what's it called?
Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood. That's the one. There's a lot of that. That's why the whole Wolf Brigade and Little Red Riding Hood, the terrorist girls.
A few movies from your quest, I've watched it. So
the terrorist girls that are walking around trying to deliver bombs, they call them their Little Red Riding Hoods.
Yeah,
bad police guys.
If it's not the weirdest, it's one of the weirdest adaptations of Red Riding Hood I've ever watched.
What do they call her in Jin-roh?
I don't remember the name of the person, like the name of the girl, but they call them Red Riding Hoods because they go around with red hoods. and
So it's not a
with a
singular
basket.
girl and they call her Hood or something?
No, like
No,
there's a
it's
bunch of
multiple.
them.
It's essentially like a code name used for the terrorist girls that are delivering, like, because obviously the terrorist cells or the terrorist cells, they are spread out across different places and they need to deliver these bombs and whatnot and equipment. So basically the code name for those are Little Red Riding Hood, because they're usually girls, younger, running
Kind of
around.
disappointed. I was hoping
Really?
they'd call a girl like Little Hood or something. Or main,
Little
or
Hood.
is there a main Hood? Main Red?
There
Red
is
Hood?
a main character, yes, that is a Little Red Riding Hood. That is kind of that Fusa ends up saving, ish.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the context of the story is also interesting because if it is based on real events. There was a time in Japan, I think they were trying to pass a working reform or something like that, and people start to it was either working reform or educational reform in the 70s, and people just start going to places and throwing cocktail molotovs and things like that. So it is based in that. It's based in a real event where the police shot people and shit like that.
Oh shit.
Didn't get as ugly as people going around bombing things, but it was pretty close. Pretty wild manifestations. Kind of what we see in France nowadays, for example. It would be something similar, but in Japan.
Yeah, no, like it is a cool movie, right? Because it is essentially about that. Like there is a whole lot of civil unrest. People are not happy with the government. They're not happy with the police. And then obviously in order to quell these protests, you have the special police, where these dudes in these jacked up suits and walking around, really mobile police that is also heavily armed with fucking
anti-tank heavy machine gun.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're just walking around and killing people essentially. Well, not necessarily, but they're used to essentially take out targets real fast. So they are the special police, and there's a little bit of like that conflict between like the actual police and the special police, and political shit going on behind the scenes of whatnot. So it's a really interesting movie. I enjoyed it quite a lot. So yes, I would definitely recommend it.
All right. Well, if you want to recommend an anime for us to cover, a movie or OVA or what have you, then hit any of us up on Twitter. You can find all our handles in the description of every episode. Looking forward to all the recommendations. Or any, for that matter.
Yeah, basically, if you have anything you want to recommend, don't
hesitate.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm excited. It's definitely on the recommended list. We'll get to it eventually.
Eventually. We have stuff planned out already.
We still need a hentai to be recommended for probably episode 51, I think.
Yeah.
That's right around the corner. Okay. Well, I think that goes into our next little segment here.
Go, Astro Boy!
All right, Hickey. This was your idea.
Yes, because I made a mistake and I had to correct it. Basically, we are reviewing today. It's the fourth time you're doing the manga webtoon checkout, and we're going to give our considerations and thoughts on a manga called Princess Knight, or I don't remember the Japanese name, but that's fine. It's by Osamu Tezuka. It was released in January 1963.
53.
And 53.
Oh, okay.
And has 27 chapters in 3 volumes. Basically, when I said I made a mistake, is because this year it's the 30th anniversary of Osamu Tezuka's death. He died in February 9th, 1989. But I thought it was in March. So
that's okay.
I thought it was like late February, early March, but it was actually the beginning of February. And we're talking about Osamu Tezuka. Every date we have about him, it should be celebrated, because he's the grandfather of every manga and anime that have existed. And Princess Knight enters in that category. From JD, being the good host he is,
Oh, thank you, Hickey. Appreciate the
the
compliment.
summary from Anime Planet. And it says, from his heavenly porch, God distributes girls and boys' hearts to babies about to be born. But a prank by the mischievous angel Tink, I don't think it was a prank, he just made a mistake because it's quite dumb for an angel, leaves Princess Sapphire of Silverland with both male and female heart. Due to an old-fashioned law preventing a woman from ruling, Sapphire must disguise herself as a prince to prevent the scheming Duke Duralumin, his name.
The
I
names
think
in
that
this
is
manga are quite.
I think that's a name of a aluminium focused detergent branch here.
Really?
Really, or it's just to polish aluminium. I don't remember. There's something with the name. For coming to power. The plan goes fairly well until a fencing tournament goes awry, and the girl is stripped of her royal title. Now, in order to get her old life back, Sapphire must escape from jail, battle dragons, and even get transformed into a swan. That's one part was weird because this one had human legs. Can the girl brawl and charm her way to true happiness?
Yes.
Yep.
And this is an interesting manga to look back on, considering it came out in the 50s.
It is, and it's Osamu Tezuka things. It's usually something to analyze a little bit further than, oh, it's just drawings. No, there's a lot of story also behind it, how it came to be. It's not actually like a Tezuka work per se, because he was, he was hired to make a shoujo manga for a magazine, and he came out with, this story, Princess Knight.
Yeah, and when you Google search Princess Knight, immediately it the main note that comes up is what it's interpreted by critics for, and that's its portrayal of gender roles. And some claim it's pro-feminist ideals, and other thinks it overly expresses misogyny, especially in 50s, 60s Japanese society. That's taken straight from the wiki page. So this actually started a tradition of the androgynous heroine and established a lot of trends in the shoujo. So that makes sense, considering it's Tezuka. He's very what's the word?
Yeah.
Ahead of his time. Revolutionary kind of thing. Evolutionary. And this is considered to be one of his first works in the shoujo genre. And so here we go. Read it all, because it's very short. Part 1 is like the whole thing. There's what'd you say, 27 chapters?
Yeah, 27 chapters.
Part 1's like 19 or 20. So it just goes back. What I noticed is it's extremely fast-paced about everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything in the 60s or 50s in this case. You see that in anime, right? When we review anime from the 60s, everything is like so fast. With one episode of a...
Speed Racer.
Speed Racer, yeah, that's a good example. Just everything's a self-contained story within an episode, but it's
fucking going by everything so fast. It's like, oh my god, somebody died. Oh no, shit! Let's move on to the race. Come on, we need to win this. Let's go.
Well, that's kind of what Princess Knight was. It was just
like a bunch of things, a bunch of different stories, and they didn't quite connect it well.
No, it just you turn the page, new story. It's like it starts off in heaven, and Tink just goes, fuck it, boy girl heart, let's go. Okay, next story. Oh, baby's born. Oh shit, it's a girl. Oh well, a boy. Okay, 15 years later. Okay, well, we raised her as a boy, but she's still a girl and she has feminist things. Bang, next one. Evil Gargamel character from the Smurfs is here.
It's quite reminiscent. It's definitely not what we perceive as a manga. or a manga style.
Not compared to today's works.
It is quite cartoonish. It is very interesting to read, especially because there's a lot of dark things that happen, but they kind of brush it off as goofy. So it was quite interesting, except the suicide at the end. That was quite dark.
Yeah, there's like random deaths that occur. It's like, oh, I have to go see my daughter's son in the fencing tournament. He is about to, because they go back and forth referring to, they go her, the prince kind of thing a lot. But there's an instance where the father hops on a horse. There's a big joke about the horse looking like a hippo, and then the horse essentially drags the father all the way to the fencing grounds, basically to his death. And then the horse gets stabbed by a poison sword that the Gargamel dude set up a prince from another kingdom to take the fall. And then it just goes, well, the dad died, the horse also died, but the prince did it, so forget about the king dying.
Yeah, then they blamed the prince of the golden... What is the name? It's like
Golden Land? Just Golden the lamest Land. Names ever.
Yeah. But, it was quite interesting. Everything goes so fast. Osamu Tezuka really liked the fast pace of the stories. You can see, my favorite example is the 1953 Tetsuo or Astro Boy adaptation, where with the first 30 minutes, the first episode, nowadays you can make a 12 episode in anime, like a season of anime, of just what happens in the first episode of Astro Boy, of how fast it is. And the same thing comes in play here. Everything goes so fast. There's a lot of things happening. Again, a lot of trends being created, and it is quite interesting. Not the story per se. I didn't think the story was that interesting.
No,
it is it is very Disney-like. And again, it's Osamu Tezuka. Osamu Tezuka loved Disney, so when he got the chance of doing something Disney, he just went for it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because as I was reading this, just in part one, from a perspective, I thought this was Disney as fuck.
Yeah, no.
I thought I was reading a mixed story of three things. I thought I was reading Sleeping Beauty mixed with Cinderella, which they reference in the manga, by the way.
Yeah, that is, they do. It is quite interesting.
Yeah, and then the Rose of Versailles, which obviously came way later in 79. I'm not sure when the manga came out, if that was even a manga. I don't know off the top of my head, but the point, because that's raising a girl to be a prince, the prince character. So I'm like, oh, there's Rose of Versailles, and then you have Sleeping Beauty with the evil witch trying to do some shit, and then you have Cinderella, which is she's always doing, well, Cinderella things. She's talking to animals. They're helping her clean, and
there's even that part where Chink makes a flute, and he goes around playing the flute, and the animals are just singing around and things like that. It is
that was like 2 pages of, I'm gonna make a flute and I'm gonna play this song, and then she'll become a real woman. I'm like, wait a minute. So she's in the middle of a fencing battle, like for her life, and he's like, I'm gonna play the flute, and she goes, oh no, I'm weak, I can't do anything. Eek, a sword.
Oh, I can fight.
I can't fight anymore all of a sudden, because now I'm a woman.
Great. Whenever she lost the boy heart, it was just amazing. I was like, sure, yeah, but like, Osamu Tezuka is regarded as the father of anime and a lot of things, but what he's really good at is just getting on other people's properties and making it better. So he has the
I don't know if he made Sleeping Beauty better here. Sleeping Beauty is really good.
He has his own themes.
Yeah.
Tetsuo Nato, he has the Doctor One, Blackjack.
Right.
He has things that he does. It's his own things, and they are very good. But sometimes he would see something, usually Disney doing? And he would do, I can do that better. And because of that, we have the White Lion, because he saw Disney doing. It's like,
Absolutely right. Yeah.
I can make it better because I'm like that. I can do anything better. He saw Walt Disney making animations from movie theaters, because that's how animation worked. It wasn't on television. There was no television. So if you want to see animation, you'd go to movie theaters, and they would just pass the animation before the movies.
You have to go to the pictures to see the films.
Yeah. So like, Osamu Tezuka was seeing that. I was like, oh, there's this new thing called television. I can make it better. So that's basically Osamu Tezuka in a lot of things. And that's no different in Princess Knight. There was a revue, or a theater company he really liked, which was a all-female company. And basically he took a bunch of stories they would adapt. They had adapt, and he watched it when he was young. He just mixed a bunch of things together and made Princess Knight. So he's technically just mixing up stories and copying this all-female company, theater company. I think they are located in Kamakura. It's Kamakura? I don't know.
Something like that.
I mean,
yeah,
it's not really surprising though. Like, remember, this is Tezuka. This is the guy who was just like, I've always wanted to make manga, but I need somehow to fucking sustain myself while I make manga. Let me become a fucking doctor so that I can make enough money to support myself and make manga. Like, fucking crazy guy.
Manga. But
there's a reason why the dude died with a pen in his hand, so
yeah.
He made Tezuka Pro. He basically created Mushi Productions as well, and Ghibli. And you gotta give the guy props.
I give the guy huge props. That wasn't not giving props. This was to fucking just highlight how crazy this man was.
Because
we're gonna definitely have to cover like a little chunk of.
So
yeah,
we should have him. We should make a Tezuka episode,
or at least cover like Astro Boy or. Is there a Blackjack anime that came out before kind of the 20, was that 14 or something? Whatever that.
Yeah, I think.
Yes, there should be. But I don't think it is. Wait, no, shit. There was a Blackjack movie that started in '93.
Well, that qualifies. So.
Yeah, but it kept going all the way to 2011.
Gotta give the guy the props. He's the reason why Miyazaki will die in this day.
There's a Blackjack movie from '96, TV series from 2004, another movie from '96. Oh, an A from there's a lot of Blackjack.
Maybe we'll do like a double feature or something where we'll do Astro Boy and then like the Blackjack movie from the early '90s or something.
Yep. But back to Princess Knight. It was very interesting. If you want to read it, I advise not to, unless you're interested in this. Unless you're interested in this story, basically, like you start watching anime and you're like, oh my god, this might be my reason to living. Just what happened to me. The only reason I'm alive nowadays, it's anime. But that's okay. And you're like, I want to see what happened. Why anime is nowadays is what it is when it started. Then go read Osamu Tezuka things. The problem with Princess Knight is just Osamu Tezuka. First, he was hired, so he was winning money, so he just packed every fairy tale like thing in one story in 27 chapters. So it's not only fast, it changes the focus so quickly. You have, the prince who is actually a princess, then you have the first love, which is the Prince Charming.
Literally, yeah.
Literally, his last name is Charming.
Of course it is.
Then the prince, the king die, and then Sapphire will become prince, but actually the evil duke discovers she's a princess, and then bans her, and then she goes around, and then there's a witch, there's actually a demon, and then there's a pirate. The pirate is like this cool guy who says, I want to
Captain Hook Captain Hook shows up or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna capture your heart. and it's the forceful guy in shoujo, right?
Right.
It's the guy that just goes around bossing the main character. She goes around.
I'm gonna murder the Duke to capture your hearts.
Yeah.
What is this, Persona?
I'm gonna assassinate this dude, and then you'll love me.
Then the queen
Never
is
see it
vanished. The queen
coming.
goes to an island. The witch, who is actually a demon, turns the queen into stone, and then you have the quest to make the queen come back to life, and blah blah blah, and a bunch of people die, and we live happy after. So it just looks like
Live
every
happily
three
ever
chapters
after with a suicide.
with a suicide. It looks like every 3 chapters you have a new fairy tale starting.
Yeah, I would say so.
And it doesn't finish. That is also a big problem. It doesn't finish. So like you have the start of a fairy tale, and immediately just the start of another fairy tale. What about the other thing? Nah, fuck, doesn't matter. Everything will make sense at the end.
You turned the other page hours ago.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So if you were interested in what Tezuka did and how he thought, and basically how a bunch of tropes came to be, especially in the 70s and 80s. No, let's put the 90s with the golden age of shoujo. Read it. It's interesting.
Well
But
said.
if you're not, you should skip it. You go read something like Blackjack, the original things Tezuka did that he didn't try to copy out of the the West. Blackjack, I believe, is one of the best works of Tezuka. Go read that. It is way better than Princess Knight. If you're interested in history and development of anime industry and what Tezuka thought and how he managed his shit, then yeah, Princess Knight is a good reading.
I would agree. The only thing I'd like to add is if you like seeing kind of origin works and seeing something from a society perspective of the time, then Princess Knight is definitely interesting to see what was pumped out of the 50s and 60s kind of deal. And I compare it to going back to reading something like old Batman comics from that era.
Oh yeah,
or Iron Man, where everything is communist all the time.
Oh yeah, Iron Man with the tin can suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, true. That is true. The biggest problem really is that Iron Man is Iron Man until nowadays. With anime and manga, you need to make a little mental gymnastics to understand how a trope develop. So like the shoujo big guys, or the captain, the pirate, the guy who forcefully goes around the main girl, like saying, "I'm gonna capture your heart and you're gonna fall for me because I'm this really good and sexy man." You need to see how it developed. Not as easy as reading Idle Man comics. But it was a good metaphor. It was a good comparison.
Alrighty. So there you go, everybody. And with that, time to get into the results of the Crunchyroll Awards and how they compare to our awards.
Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go!
Alrighty. So the Crunchyroll Awards happened, like a couple weeks ago, I suppose?
Yeah.
Is that correct, guys?
Me and Tori
Alrighty.
watched it.
We sure
and
did.
It gave me a huge headache.
Oh.
What? I mean, it seemed very Crunchyroll biased, even though they tried not to be in the end. Or it was like a facade of them trying not to be Crunchyroll biased, but they ended up being Crunchyroll biased. That's how I took it, just from looking at it.
I don't think so. Just because of the people that are involved. Like, it's not Crunchyroll doing. Crunchyroll's just hosting it. And I honestly also wish that they would find somebody else to host it, because god damn it, it's so cringy. Especially when they're on stage. Oh, it's worse. Like, when you are on stage and you're like, hey, we're all here having a good time, aren't we? And then you see like 3 people with cameras walking by, and you hear a little bit, yeah, in the background, and you get a shot of the room, and there's like 15 guys. It's like, baby,
Yay.
no.
You're like two people clapping.
Yep. And you look at them and be like, I know you. I've seen you in Crunchyroll. You work there.
Okay, well that's good. That's good to hear. What was there awkward band music between everything again?
Nope.
Okay,
No,
they cut that. All right.
Yeah.
So-
This was way more local.
All right, way more. Well, at least maybe that's for the best. All right, I didn't write down all the awards like the voice actor one, but just the ones that kind of compare to us.
I mean,
So
Mamoru Miyano won.
Mamoru
Yeah.
Miyano as Kotaro. Baka zombie!
Yeah, that's what matters. He was. I mean, it is a good time for Mamoru Miyano. People accept his quirks.
he's the
you know,
Hoin Koma guy, isn't he?
yeah, he's
Hoin
Hoin Kyoma.
All right.
Okabe Rintaro, yeah. Because like now he can go crazy as ever because people are accepting more his type of voice acting, and basically it's the best time for him. And he won an award that shows that people really liked him in Zombieland Saga.
Well, that's good at least. All right, well, let's get into it. I don't want to spend too much time on Crunchyroll. They don't deserve it. Which, by the way, so they updated their site. I just want to make this little side note. And so ad blocker doesn't work on it, but it can work.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Wait, what? They updated the thing that ad
Yeah,
block
so
worked?
they updated their site. And let's say you have a free account, so you just watch everything, a week later or what have you. Well,
Yeah.
there's their system's so bugged now that if you have a free account, it basically makes you unable to even watch it with ads. Because what ends up happening is, what used to happen was you'll get like 3 or 4 of the same ad in a row for like 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just 2 or 3 times an episode. Well, now it's so bugged out that when you start an episode, the ad just rolls on top of each other. You get like 4 or 5 different ads for about 10 minutes. So it basically makes you unable to even watch the video in the first place. So I just Googled, okay, what is the solution to this? Like, is it bugged out? And there's a few Reddit users that have found a way around that. You just gotta like inspect, and then just you end up just clicking on the Crunchyroll ad, and then you just add it to the ad blocker. So,
Oh, so basically the ad block working on Crunchyroll. That's basically what I did. If I go on Crunchyroll to watch free anime and I had ad block, I had ad block on, the ad block will just block the ads in the video. So I would just watch Crunchyroll anime without any advertisement. So they try to fix that, but they end up making 10 minutes of advertisement.
Yeah, they ended up breaking their videos. So
Yeah, okay. So basically, Crunchyroll needs to hire some people that can monitor and fix this shit, because this is absolutely getting retarded. Like, literally, in order to fucking fix their site to begin with, they had to solicit the help of random people on the internet. Fantastic. And now, just hire people. Stop letting people go. Just hire people.
yeah, like I got halfway through a JoJo Golden Wind episode, and then at the halfway point, an ad hit. This was when it first like started, and I was like, okay, I can deal with an ad or two for a minute, whatever. I'll go like take a piss or something and come back. Fine, I come back, and that same ad has just rolled on top of each other, like the same 2 ones. I go, what's happening here? It just wouldn't go away. I'm gonna time this just to see how long it'll take, and it just would. After 10 minutes, it was just looping. So I was like playing a video game, and I go, okay, all right, this is unacceptable. So anyways, back to the Crunchyroll Awards. Best OP/ED, the Crunchyroll winners were, for OP, it was the Darling in the Franxx one, and the ED, Attack on Titan Season 3, which, by the way, neither of the two were even nominated for us. And our results was...
so fucking angry.
Yeah,
The first one should have.
Our results
the angriness
was
is coming back.
Yeah, it was Kokaku by a landslide, and that wasn't even nominated for the Crunchyroll one. So there you go with that.
Yeah, because there was Deal with the Devil.
There's Deal with the Devil.
There was Deal with the Devil, and it was like, oh, dude, it's Deal with the Devil. Basically the best music of last year. No.
Yeah, so that's something that stuck out to me immediately. Like, everything that was nominated for our awards across the podcasts and fans and whatnot just wasn't even nominated for Crunchyroll, so that was a bit odd.
Good.
Best Boy and Girl, we decided to do like the best show with characters and whatnot. Crunchyroll winners was Midoriya again, My Hero Academia,
Shocking.
which we'll make a comment in a second. And then the best girl was Mai from Bunny Girl Senpai, which not really surprising.
Nah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that one was alright.
She's not the best girl of the show, but that's fine.
You can shut up.
So our results again was basically Hinata from Place Further in the Universe and another character. And then so she was at least nominated in the girl category. What the comment I want to make is the Midoriya vote. Last season was more about Bakugo than anything, and for us, he actually got 4th place. But he, again, not nominated in Crunchyroll. So that kind of stood out to me. Would you agree, guys?
Well, fan votes, some people, like, they don't care. Like, people, it's not like they're like, oh, this is based on 3rd season. People are going there being like, oh, well, I liked him in season 1. I also really like the way he's portrayed in the manga. Therefore, I'm going to vote on him. It's like, that's not sure.
There you go. Well said, Tori.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any comment. I know there's like every kind of award thing will have its distortions. Ours, when we made the first time, there's a huge thing. Usually it's me and Tori. We are both the ones who watch the most amount of anime. So we have it's huge, and it usually gets distorted by we don't have a cap of nominations and things like that. So what happened is like what we saw this year with just A Place Further in the Universe winning everything. The same thing goes to Crunchyroll, where we have a lot of judges. You have a lot of judges, way more than we have.
Right.
Yeah.
But their taste is very punctual. So kind of happens the same thing, but instead of being something majorly like something popular to a point, it's usually the most popular things that get nominated, like My Hero Academia. This year, what I think it happened.
Well, most of our categories had like runaway results. There was only a couple that were close.
Yep, and they were all rigged.
No, I mean, I know. I know what I'm
Still
saying
angry
is,
and bitter about it, Tori.
what I'm saying is what appears in the categories. Not much what wins.
Oh, I got you. I feel you now.
Yeah,
right.
Usually, the shows that won, they were popular, but not that popular. You have those little things, those little surprises where, when it comes to Crunchyroll, what appears in the categories are usually huge shows. They don't need to be good. I'm making my case to My Hero Academia because I don't think it's a good show, but it's huge.
Shut up.
It's a huge show. So, what happened this year, as I was saying, I think Crunchyroll capped out the amount of nominations a show could have. That's why we didn't see. That's why we didn't see My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia won the majority of the awards, but it wasn't in the Anime of the Year category.
Right.
Because it was probably kept out, So like these little things that happen, these distortions we see. So people see My Hero Academia, they will vote for My Hero Academia. Granted, it's huge.
Right.
So even if you have another popular thing, it doesn't compete.
Like it's kind of similar to the whole, like, if you go to Mal and look at the anime on Mal, what's the popular anime on Mal? Well, that's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right? It's that thing. It's like, it's so huge, everyone loves it. It's like if Crunchyroll were to do a fucking, like, just best anime of all time award, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood would be nominated and it would most likely win. It is the most popular anime among Western fans.
From a Western perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tiger and Bunny and Gintama would win in the East. And Love Live and that kind of bullshit.
Love Live. Oh, that would just break my heart.
Anyways, moving on. Best fight scene. So I just kind of compared this to our best moment kind of category as a comparison. Crunchyroll winner was the All for One versus All Might fight in My Hero Academia. So there you go, Hickey.
Another one.
Literally had Satan.
So I re-looked at our best moment category for any fight scenes in particular, and really only one fight scene came up, and that was Asta's Demon Mode, which was by me.
Of course it was.
In Black Clover. And then to compare that, the best fight scene from the Crunchyroll nominations was the Yami versus Licht fight. So, but I will say My Hero Academia did win our most fun to watch category. Like there was some kind of correlation there. I guess that makes sense.
To my disdain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Best protagonist and antagonist, Crunchyroll winners was Tempest from the Reincarnated as a Slime and All for One, My Hero Academia. There you go again, Hickey.
Could have literally had Satan, but no.
Yeah, they literally have Satan. We just kept like the antagonist. Was it? The best antagonist.
Yep.
It was. I guess it was the most fun category, the funniest category. Watching with Ori, because like I had a huge headache because the Crunchyroll Awards, people were like presenting it, but my experience was like, have you guys ever made a party hopping? It's basically like a bar hopping, but if you are in a party and you just drink, you drink until you get wasted. Someone says something to you. Someone says something to you and you agree. You blink, you kind of pass out and wake up in another place. You don't know where you are, who are the people around you. You're just confused. And you're just leaving there like, what the fuck is going on? You don't understand what's going on. Basically, that was Crunchyroll Awards because there was a bunch of people presenting it. There was a bunch of people presenting it, and I didn't know anyone. I know like two guys.
Well, that was for me last year as well. I was like, I don't know any of these people. I know Chris Sabat. that was it.
what is going on? And the best antagonist, it was funny because I was talking to Tori, and it's like, one is basically Satan, the other one is actually Satan, the other one is technically Satan, the one is Russian. And it's like there was a bunch of different Satans to choose from, and they choose All for One.
Well, okay. See, that's the problem. See, there was just it's like the American election. If you get a third party involved, he takes the votes away. So there was just too many third party Satans involved. Took votes away, so all of them went towards the Republican vote, All for One.
Yeah, but there's literally Satan.
There's
too many Satans. That's the problem. So, anyway,
also just another thing to clarify. Lily didn't win Best Girl.
Yeah,
and I was sad about that because there was the meme. It was a meme. It just needed to win, but unfortunately, it didn't.
So, I'm glad it didn't, but at the same time, I agree. The memes would have been nice.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, and I did double check this. Reincarnated as a Slime never even got a single vote or nomination in ours. Out of
no, because it's
all of those
bad.
things.
Honestly,
I didn't watch it.
A lot of people like it. I've read the manga because a lot of people said it is great. My friends are watching it and they say it's great. It's great. I was like, all right, it's an isekai. I'm born on isekai. I read.
Tell me
manga.
about it, Hickey. I tried one.
I read isekai manga because reading I think isekai manga is better than the anime. The experience at least. And I was like, all right, if I'm gonna see Slime, I'm gonna read the manga. The beginning is quite fun, I admit that, but after I think it was like 20 chapters, I was like, okay, this is not fun anymore.
It just becomes like everything else.
No, it's just boring. Honestly, it's not like everything else. Of course, he gets like a bunch of powers and
Sure.
gets overpowered and things like that. But it's just not fun. I wasn't having fun. It's not like I am the strongest villager that ever existed, and I became the farmer in another world or things like that, which is wacky at least. Slime is just not fun. But Crunchyroll, and that's something funny about Slimes, that Crunchyroll has a bunch of anime they produce with their money, and they know it's not a good anime. So usually what they do, they just go around making a bunch of PR stunts for that anime. And if you are, if you follow any Crunchyroll for any country in Twitter, you see that they will just make tweets and tweets about one particular show, and it's usually
they joke about it. They do pictures out of context. They put banners on their site of shows like that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it's usually not a good show.
Magical Girl Ore, though.
Yeah, they did that
but
quite
Slime,
a lot.
Slime is actually the first one that these PR stunts actually work, and people stopped watching it and liked it. So it's kind of weird. It sets in a weird place. Like, it's very popular with people who watch Crunchyroll. So when it comes to the Crunchyroll Awards, people are like, oh, that Slime got reincarnated in another world with Slime. The main character is there, so I'm going to vote for that. And a lot of people voted for it because they are having fun watching the show.
Okay.
So like it's kind of that was the most weird thing. Like that was the weirdest one. I wasn't expecting Rimuru to win.
Yeah, I think you still called it though. You were just like,
yes,
for a win.
I called it, but
I know that actually happened, and I was just like, what?
when I pulled up the results page on Crunchyroll, I noticed a lot of people were upset about Goblin Slayer not being on this category and the best anime category. Which
a lot of people was like, oh, this is in the chat was like, this is rigged. There's also a few like YouTube videos that say, oh, they rigged it and blah blah. I don't think so because of Anime of the Year.
Yeah, and Best Director.
And Best Director, it's like they crowned Netflix in the Crunchyroll Awards. So like I don't believe it was rigged, but it's weird nevertheless. There's no way to understand all those people's taste, basically, and it's interesting the collective mentality behind the Slime.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we've
Slime
seen
and Goblin Slayer were the two ones that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, but like we've seen this before, right? Like it's how do you do this? Like
because every day with My Hero Academia.
Yeah, no, but look at Crunchyroll Awards. Like, what do? The first Crunchyroll Award was completely fan based. It was horrible. It was absolutely terrible. Like
the winner is
the second one.
Nice.
Yeah, the second one they decided to go with only, not only. They decided to go with a mixture of fan votes and judges' votes.
And the winner.
And the same thing.
My Hero Academia.
And this time, I think they got more judges involved, but they still went with the judges as well as fan votes counting. And I don't know. I don't know which. Clearly, with some categories there was mostly just like, I think this category will go to the judges pick, but like I think we'll let judges pick like the shows for this rather than going like this is popular. Let's put that in there.
They use that for the less meaningful categories. I see what you're saying, Tori. Very possible. But anyways, we gotta move on here. Best animation Crunchyroll winner was Violet Evergarden, and we agreed. Violet Evergarden won easily in ours as well. I did notice that our second place finish after the rain was not even nominated by Crunchyroll. So take that for what it's worth. Best animation. Character design Crunchyroll winner was JoJo Golden Wind, and this is something that I thought about. Do you think character design should be from an original work, i.e. not based on a manga kind of deal?
No, because you have sometimes the character design change. We have like, what is the name of that one with the Saga of Tanya the Evil? how
that was a
it
light
changes.
novel,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
that. No, I mean, but you still have you still have pages of the light novel. There's the pictures.
There's oftentimes artists working on light novels as well.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
illustrate
and
the
it
covers
changes.
and whatnot.
You also have, like, for example, Snafu changes the character design. Konosuba changed the character design a little bit, not so much, but it changed.
I mean,
so usually light novels, they change the design a little bit to please the investors.
All right, fair enough.
to make it easier to animate.
But I don't think the designs in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure are good, by the way. Did you make a comment on
there's
that?
Flair.
They're fine, but
There's Flair,
No,
but that's it.
I don't think they're good designs.
Well, they're from
honestly.
the 80s, you know. But,
No, it's not about that. It's just like too crude of a character design.
yeah, 80s
when
muscle
you-
bound guys. That's that crudeness.
No, like when you look like at the face, some face features there's mushy. The ears are just blobs.
Oh, that's what you
They
mean.
look like donuts.
Okay.
It's not a good character design. Some a little things. I know I'm nitpicking. I guess you can say I'm nitpicking, but a few things when you compare to Megalobox, which had good character design.
That was
Violet
interesting, but that was
Evergarden,
also an original work, though, and so was Violet Evergarden.
you have a Gretzko. Which
Violet
is simple.
Evergarden.
It's a simple design, but I like simple.
Violet Evergarden is not an original.
I'm wrong. You're right. Violet
Violet
Evergarden was
Evergarden
based
is
off
a novel. Yeah, it's a light
But
novel.
they still have to create the character.
Not
don't have to
exactly.
essentially
No,
copy it from
no, they don't.
Chidi, have you ever seen a light novel? There are pictures inside of it.
Is there pictures in the Violet Evergarden light novel?
I think
I'm pretty
so.
sure there is.
Yeah, no, but like even still, like because obviously a character designer, especially when it comes to anime, a character designer's job is to translate the whatever design has been made in the manga and to make that into anime. Then they decide how they want to do that. Do they want to go as accurate as possible? Do they want to go make it different? Usually they kind of stick somewhere in the middle, try to make it easier to animate as well as sticking to looking similar to what it already is. Sometimes they decide to go completely whack and just do something way different. But
Yeah, like
again,
the
it's-
Investors. Alrighty, fair enough. Again, I thought I'd ask. That was an interesting question. So, nominees for Anime of the Year from Crunchyroll were Place Further Than the Universe, Devilman Crybaby, Megalobox, Violet Evergarden, Hinamatsuri, and Zombieland Saga. And the winner was Devilman Crybaby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
was
like
quite-
that.
I mean, aside from Hinamatsuri, the other ones are quite like the safe pick.
Well,
The
okay, I'm glad you
judges were
brought that
like,
up.
yeah, the judges were like, yeah, I'm gonna go safe in this one. So quite
So,
standard. Even Megalobox, which I don't think it was that good, got into a nominee for Anime of the Year because it's a safe bet.
So,
Yeah.
just to note that, let's see. Place Further, Devilman, Violet Evergarden, they were in our top 6. Zombieland Saga did make our top 10. It was 8th. Hinamatsuri got about 21st. So, again, Hickey, I agree. Like, that probably shouldn't have been there. And Megalobox got 3rd in our most overrated category, so that kind of confirms that.
Yeah.
From what
Well,
our
see,
thoughts were,
like,
anyways.
if My Hero Academia Season 3 was allowed to be in Anime of the Year, definitely Hinamatsuri wouldn't be in that category.
Yeah, they probably would have switched out for sure.
Nah, but the only thing that matters is that the correct show won Anime of the Year and the also won Best Art. So, literally the only two things that matter.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
sorry,
funny.
Tori, you're wrong. It's only as good as second place.
No, fuck that. I'm not gonna say this very often, okay? But for once, there was a place where the Crunchyroll Awards were better than ours, and I blame fucking people who got together and decided on what show to pick for first, okay?
Oh god, I'm lightheaded.
But yeah, it was interesting. Like when it came to the announcement of Anime of the Year, I started laughing because the people chose a Netflix original anime. It should be Anime of the Year of anime, like Crunchyroll Anime Awards, and I just started laughing my ass off. I was like, "Oh fuck, they can't even rig the thing well."
I'm losing it.
The moment that happens, everyone just looks at it. Wait, no, that's not what it's supposed to. This is not how it's supposed to be.
Oh, so that was the Crunchyroll Awards. Alrighty.
Fun times.
Yeah, fun times. Less cringy than the last year.
It sounds like it was less cringier than the previous 2 years, so that's at least progress.
You definitely need to watch it with other people, though. It becomes the
Yeah, it still gave me a headache, especially because it went until like 1 a.m.
Oh, poor
And I was getting very angry because, you know, there was
What time did
categories
it go
where...
for you?
like 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah, but overall, fun. There was a Jeff. He won some stuff, and it was a good time, especially watching the story.
There was a Jeff. They had this random lottery thing that happened, and some dude won. They put the balls in, and then they put up some dude won, and he just walks up there and literally he's got a shirt on that says Yao, and he's like, "What's your name?" Jeff. And just fucking burst out laughing.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a fun time. V of Virgins was reading comments on Twitch. It was interesting, especially watching Vittori. We had a good time.
Glad you guys did. Wasn't that the day after my birthday? I think.
I think you were sick, actually.
Yeah, you were sick. It was the same day of a podcast recording.
Yeah.
You were sick.
I was dying. That's cool. Alrighty. So, probably play a drop and a commercial and the whatnot when we come back. Samurai X review.
Woo.
Are you here because you're following the will of others, or are you here on your own will?
Alright, wise words, Captain Harlock. Wise words. And with that, making a call to arms for any of our anime listeners out there, please leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us get out there in the world. Show up in search results more and more, higher in the search results as well. Go leave an iTunes review, Red Leaf Retrocast. We have run out of iTunes reviews to say on the podcast. And there's a bug in the Stitcher system where it's deleting random reviews.
Nice.
Good job, Stitcher.
Good job, Stitcher. We hate you.
Red Leaf Retrocast Webcast, the #1 anime cast in Finland.
Yeah.
That's right.
I thought it was strange that a lot of podcasts on Stitcher just don't have reviews, or even the most popular ones only have like 6 reviews. Well, that's why Stitcher just randomly deletes them when they feel like it.
Yeah, you know. I don't need to stay
now
there.
we know.
It's a review battle royale.
Right.
Just go around.
I noticed our top upvoted review was deleted. That
Nice.
was like the first Stitcher review we got. That's just gone now.
Perfect. Who needs it?
Yeah, who needs it? Whatever. All right, Samurai X, Trust and Betrayal.
That's right, Rurouni Kenshin, Trust and Betrayal.
Rurouni Kenshin, Trust and
Kenshin.
Betrayal by Studio Dean, released February 1999. Director is Kazuhiro Furuhashi, also known for anime such as Get Backers and the original Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, Get Backers! Oof. Oh, it's fun. Come on, no, it's fun. It's a nostalgic oof. It's not a oof oof.
No,
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but I know what it is.
This is a 4-episode OVA series, and basically the origin story of Kenshin Himura. This takes place before the more known Rurouni Kenshin series that was, say, on Toonami in the West and was very popular, and then also of note the manga creator and his bullshit that he's doing or did.
Yeah, he only got fined.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He's just a healthy Japanese man.
Oh God, that's one way to put it. Summary from
Hey,
Anime
look.
Planet.
I know a little two things about Japanese law, and he was a healthy Japanese man until 2013.
Okay.
But then things changed,
Then the law changed.
and then he went online in a forum and asked something. But hey, the police was there and kind of. Oh, I love that story so much. Oh my God.
It's a read. It's a read.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's talk
later.
about Samurai X again. Back to that. Himura Kenshin was a boy orphaned by the murder of his parents. There's a lot of murder we're going to talk about. Now he is the Itu Kiri Batosai, the most feared and skilled killer in 19th century Japan. In the midst of a bloodbath, he meets the love of his life, Tomoe. Will he continue to fight his enemies in a killing rage, or will she sheath his blood-stained sword?
Ha!
Little do we know. I guess.
Unfortunately, I don't think they had sex before.
Come on. They boned.
They didn't.
They definitely boned.
They didn't.
Come on,
that is
Hickey.
one of
You're
the problems.
crazy.
Listen, okay, Kenshin is a pure Japanese man.
He's a pure Japanese.
Oh, come on.
He's a
He probably
healthy
has some of
Japanese
that.
man.
He's probably got some of that Dutch tradesman in him, hence the red hair. Come on.
That's right.
He's probably had a Dutch tradesman in him, yeah?
Oh, well, no, not like that, Hick. Or Tori, Jesus. Yeah, you know something about Dutch tradesmen living in Norway, don't you?
No, actually, I don't.
Since he was born in the Edo period of Japan, it is probably Portuguese. That's no, not Portuguese. Yeah, kind of.
I'm thinking Dutch. I'm thinking
Because no, he's Japanese because there was the policy, the Japanese policy of just shutting down every port to any foreigners
that
in the Edo
hadn't
period.
happened yet?
That happened
Or
in
was
the Edo
about
period.
to
In the
happen?
Meiji period, where the actual series start, there was the westernization of Japan, which is also, by the way, the period where we see The Last Samurai, the movie with Tom Cruise. Awesome movie.
So maybe you are. Maybe it is Portuguese then.
So but it's like a very old Portuguese from the 19th, for the 17th century, and they just reproduced there in Japan and
Alright.
left behind in some traces of DNA. I don't know. Let's just get going.
All right, let's get back on track here. So this OVA series was released during the final arc of the much lighter TV series, and tonal shift indeed. And the last episode of the OVA of the 4 was released like a week or two after the conclusion of the TV series in Japan. So that's I thought that was interesting. How it was coming out. And they even, if you're watching the TV series, as much filler as it is, they do have kind of flashbacks referencing the OVA series in those.
They do, like the last arc, I think.
Yeah.
The last arc of the original TV series, the manga as well. It's about the story of, what is his name? It's the younger brother of Tomoe seeking revenge.
Oh, I forget his name, but yeah. Focuses on him.
I have his name here. Hold on. Himura Kenji. Trying to get revenge on.
Yeah, hence why
on
Kenshin took the Himura name. So set in the era of Japan stuck in deep war of governments being overthrown, we here see child Kenshin caught up in the political war discourse of the time. He gets caught up and brought in by a traveling warrior and taught the ways of the sword, his little special style. And he gets recruited then by the government and works as an assassin despite his master's warning. So there's your little setup and story there. So the story, this was interesting. Right away in the first OVA, we see a lot of story going back and forth between child Kenshin, or Shinta, we find out his name, and the young assassin Kenshin, and kind of how he gets recruited, becomes the Batosai, that kind of deal. I thought that was interesting. A lot of the now this is also the third or fourth time I've seen the OVA.
Oh damn!
Yeah, looking at
mean,
a much
I
more
think-
critical perspective this time around for sure.
Yeah, I think I've watched it like only once before, but when I was a kid. It was just like, oh, there was a new thing, Samurai X, going out on television, and then you just watch it.
So, I never really truly noticed this whole back and forth and how much it keeps going back and forth in rapid fire. What did you guys think of that?
I mean,
Like, one thing,
I kind of like it though, right? Because it is kind of, it does put more of a mind, like especially for me, somebody who hasn't seen any other Kenshin than this. It does kind of put a bit more context in mind for me when I'm watching it. Like I feel like I understand him a little bit more when he goes and just murders people in cold blood.
Show is very
Oh
quite
yeah.
gory,
Well, I mean, it is an OVA,
Yeah.
so I didn't have as many restrictions when it comes to that. And
swords going
no
through
sense of
throats,
shape at
cutting
all.
bodies in half, going through a
Yeah.
mouth
Zero
and
sense
of
smashing
shape,
the top
just-
of his head. It's awesome.
by the way, just allow me to say, like, Dean, whatever the fuck happened to you, but this is good, right? This is fucking like, I'm not just talking about the gore. I'm talking about just general animation. Like, for fuck's sakes, they animated individual strands of hair in this one. Like, it's insane the amount of detail they went into for this OVA.
It's
They
very
really
good.
that
wanted this
happens
to
when
be.
you give people money. They actually work.
It's happened when Dean doesn't suck.
Yeah, you know, it's the 90s. A lot of things were weird. Not like the 80s, because the 80s everything got cancelled. So,
True.
the 90s were kind of weird in Japanese animation. You know, Dane was good. Madhouse was rising.
Madhouse
Things
was
like
on
that.
top, or just about to be, kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was about to be in 99.
Different
Weird
times.
I'm with you, Tor. I quite liked going from Child Kenshin, where he came to be, and then it cuts to kind of the young assassin. And I thought when it would go back and forth, they were relevant to each other. You know, of what was happening at the time. Like, this happened from Child Kenshin. Now we're here at Assassin, and based on what happened this moment as a child, that's what brings us here to kind of what he's feeling or why he's acting the way he does at this time. And they do that 2, 3, 4 times. You know, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Gives you a good perspective. So episode 1 OVA is probably the more get you into the series kind of deal, because 2 and 3 is all kind of set up, what's happening, tonal shift. So episode 1 covers more of the origin, where Kenshin at one point cuts down a man about to get married. He leaves a deep cut on Kenshin's left cheek that just won't heal.
No.
He is then told later that a cut from a man with a strong heart may never heal until the cutter's revenge has been concluded. So a little ominous, kind of foretelling, and this really fucks with Kenshin's head. Because he's what, a teenager? Or he's 18 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's quite young.
Yeah,
It fucks his head, but his head was already a little bit fucked.
Well, it was already fucked, and he was kind of, you know, slowly
Because it is interesting.
motionless kind of deal.
If we to mention, what is the name of his sensei?
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Hiko Seijiro.
Seijiro, that's right. Okay.
The master of the
My
Hiten
God.
Mitsurugi. The guy
Hiten
gets him like he's a kid. His family was like murdered. And then this guy appears and say, do you want to become a swordsman, a samurai? And he teaches him the Hiten Mitsurugi, which is a style, he says, to protect the wick. Right?
Well, he was just kind of observing him because he sees this kid in the field just burying this like couple or this family. And he's like, why are you bothering to bury them? Like, did you know them? And he goes, no, they just kind of protected me for some reason. And I feel like I needed to find good stones for their graves. This is the least I could do. You know, he didn't really have much feelings toward them, but he just didn't really know why they did what they did for him, particular. So Seijiro kind of pours sake over, and he's like, all right, you want to follow me?
Yeah, but like, he explains like this sword style is to help the poor and the weak.
He did in his training, yeah.
And you know, before Kenshin becomes the Hitokiri Batosai, he has this argument with his master and says, look, you have this powerful swordsmanship, but you won't go out. There are people out there. There's war. We need to fight. We need to help the poor and the weak. Right. And the master says, look, there's a lot of people out there that says they're righteous. They are the good people. Mm-hmm. And if you follow for that trap, you're going to be fucked. Because you're going to cut down and kill people without realizing you are doing the evil instead of doing the good. So, you know, you shouldn't just go out seeking those feelings you're seeking. And can she just tell him to go fuck himself and then...
As a rebellious teenager would, right?
Yeah, and then go to become an assassin. So it's a little bit fucked because the master said if you go out, this would happen. And it is exactly what happens.
Yeah,
white soul Japanese
really
man.
That. No, I really like that. It was a very good touch, and it even plays into the mainline TV series when Seijiro does reappear.
Even before he reappears, because you know, Kenshin in the beginning of the series, he's just this dumb, happy guy who doesn't want to fight. He wants peace, and he just goes around helping the weak. That is basically the beginning of the series, where you know he found himself at the end of the OVA, and then you jump to the series, which is, I believe, 11 years after,
something
kind
like
of
that,
11 years after the OVA, and already in the Meiji period, which was a huge revolution to Japan. Same period with, again, The Last Samurai,
right?
With Tom Cruise and Samurai Champloo as well. So yeah, and you know we have this peace-loving guy just going around helping weak people. So he kind of found his way, and then again we see his master again, where he teaches him the ultimate technique.
Yeah, I really liked whether it was Seijiro warning Kenshin of his fate if he goes down that path. There's a lot of deep, meaningful sentences and dialogue. Lots of music and sound for scenes rather than dialogue, so it does a very good job of the show don't tell. Deal
Remember when anime could actually do foreshadowing correctly?
Right? And lots of symbolism, here we go again, through the use of the color red.
Also the flowers. Just flowers everywhere.
Flowers everywhere all the time. But I did notice that it did do a lot of this somber gray to black and white kind of color palette going on. Background work and character art would change to this monotone perspective a lot of the times, and it would highlight, not so much, it would definitely highlight red a lot, especially blood, but it would also highlight other things to pay attention to in scenes, which again was kind of a symbolism or foreshadowing of events to occur. I really like that.
The water thing they did, showing off the water, nice. Nice little touch about the way the water looked beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
God damn, I can't get over the fact that this is something Dean.
It's good writing. It is good Dean. Good fighting choreography. It's very authentic, let's play that. Samurai fighting, you know, it was quick. It was 1-2, someone falls dead, and you see that a lot where Kenshin is just going around killing people. They don't even parry. It's just like the guy tries to attack him, the guy misses, and he just cuts the guy in half. Like,
yeah, and
it's not even
how
he doesn't even cut the guy.
Work.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like he doesn't cut the guy, and done. He puts the sword, and it's kind of a light wound, and he presses with his other arm to just dip in the cut. It is very interesting. It's very authentic and quite nice choreographed.
Again, a very
and
much.
that's weird good teen time in history.
But it's interesting because it's a very much different tonal shift and perspective to the Shonen series, where here battles are within seconds and a couple moves, while in the Shonen series you see Kenshin against like Shishio, and they have multiple episode fights where like Shishio's being lit on fire.
And
He's
keep on
totally cool.
fighting. Yeah, good lord.
There's a reason why this one's better.
But it reminds me of what happened to Pet Label. Because, you know, you have the Happy-Go-Lucky series, and then you go to the movies, and it's just like,
damn.
Whoa, what happened?
You're right.
Right?
So, probably the most influential and important character in this isn't so much Kenshin himself. I know he's Shinta, but we'll, for the sake of keeping continuity here, and more people have seen the TV series, we'll keep calling him Kenshin, is the character of Tomoe. And
Yes.
This is a woman he meets on the road after killing a man, or an assassin, like, come to fuck his shit up, but too bad for him. He met the Batosai. So he kills him right in front of her, and she says the line, "You made the bloody rain fall." Just really cool scene, really cool line. She's been out drinking, and then she passes out into Kenshin's arms. This is right during this mental kind of breakdown he's having, and he's clouded. He's misjudging things. He's distraught. And then she says this, "You made the bloody rainfall," and he like almost lets go of his sword completely because he's about to kill her, right? Because she's a witness. But she says this shit, fucks with his head. She passes out in his arms, and he takes her back with him, and this cues a whole sequence of events from here on, where they're at the Ikodai Inn. I believe that's what it's called. Am I right, guys? Maybe.
Or the little hotel there's
either way, it's an inn where Kenshin and his group of his band of merry men.
What is the name? It's there's a Bakumatsu. The Bakumatsu.
Yeah,
it's an informal militia that happened in the final, like the ending of the Edo period, where people were trying to take down the Tokugawa family from the shogunate.
Yeah,
and you see that a lot. Like there's a lot of stories. Something you don't see a lot in the original series, the TV series. Here, there's a lot of stories, especially because Kenshin was directly involved in the revolt against the shogunate. So you see him in the Bakumatsu. You see the Shinsengumi going around with the blue coats.
Yeah, you see a lot of foreshadowing of characters that you do see in the TV series, and
see the burning of Kyoto or Tokyo. They was Tokyo? No, it was Kyoto.
It was Kyoto.
Yeah, Kyoto.
Yeah.
It was Kyoto because it only became Tokyo in the Meiji period. So you have the burning of Kyoto, you have revolts, you have special agents around and ninjas and things like that. It is actually all history. It's very interesting.
Well, speaking of history, I mentioned this inn because apparently this battle of the Bakumatsu and I believe it was the Shinsengumi actually did go. It's a famous incident that went down at this same inn. So there's a lot of historical direct references within this, which is really cool.
What part of how the fuck did Dean make this? I don't understand. Like, there's a lot of effort put into this. Like, I absolutely love that. It is. I mean, obviously, it's not like you'll see it a lot of anime with references to samurai and whatnot. Has to have that, like, oh, we're at that inn, we're the fucking, like, it's not the first time you've seen this, and it won't be the last, but like, just kind of in context of everything, it's so cool how it's like they're obviously doing another Rurouni Kenshin, but they're still keeping history in mind the entire way,
right?
To like really, and just does that really well.
And also the inn, like when they flee the inn, I think it's the ending of episode 2. There is, I believe, my favorite phrase of the show when the innkeeper looks at Tomo and says like because she smells like peach flowers, I think.
White plums.
White plums, and the innkeeper says white plums smell better in the rain, even if it's a blood rain. And I was like, oh shit,
there you go.
this
There's
is
a
actually
reference.
very cool. Yeah.
Another reference. Yeah, exactly. A lot of that. So she works at this inn, and members of the Bakumatsu Kenshin's little group here are they're kind of plotting their next moves and what have you, and they think there's a spy in the midst of it all, and obviously they think it's Tomoe. They're very suspicious of her. So eventually they do flee, and a member of the Bakumatsu, I believe it's the head dudes, like recommends Kenshin and Tomoe because they're kind of, I guess, he pins them together as a fake married couple to kind of stay incognito more. And all episode 3 is just Kenshin and this woman Tomoe kind of healing their own hearts. And I believe someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone in episode 2 makes a reference to Kenshin saying that woman can possibly dull his sword or sheath his sword.
It's the main guy.
It's the main guy in the Bakumatsu who says that?
I believe it is. It's the noble that was controlling the Bakumatsu.
Yeah. So he mentions that, and all the while you notice that you can see Tomoe shifting.
It's Katsura. His name is Katsura.
Katsura. Oh yeah, Katsura. Okay.
Which is
There's also
from Gintama as well.
I noticed. That clicked in my head too, as well. I was like, Katsura, leader of a rebel group and okay, I got you.
It's the same. It's the same period. It is interesting. It's an interesting period. Just why Katsura is the good guy and why he chose Kenshin to be his sword is because in the other period, the samurai, they could just go around killing people. And the Shinsengumi was famous for just, killing people on the streets. So that's why they were the bad guys in this case. If you're just walking, minding your business, and the Shinsengumi would just go around and, I don't know, you just went too close to them, they would just stop you and said,
you trip on the road
me.
In their path.
Yeah, you touched me, how dare you? They would just put you on your knees and cut your head off in the middle of the street. So that's why they're seen as the bad people.
Kind of frowned upon today, I will say.
Yeah, people don't really like doing that, like when that happens. And you really have to go and make our streets so messy. Like, littering isn't allowed. Like,
you gotta do chalk lines now and everything. It's a mess. All right. So Tomoe's kind of role was to kind of open up Kenshin's heart and his I want to say his mind open again, and the same worked for Kenshin with Tomoe, because you find out Tomoe just had her husband to be die, and she's kind of lost in herself. She ran away from home, doesn't want to return, so she's kind of lost. So they're both kind of helping each other out mentally, and contrary to what Hickey thinks, I think they also helped each other out physically.
No, there was a scene that might, but they were using clothing. They just snuggled together in a blanket. No,
naked underneath their clothing.
Wasn't. They just snuggled together, and he was like, "Oh, I like being a farmer. I don't want to kill people anymore."
Well, they have a lot of alone time together.
They do have a lot of alone time together, but they need to wait until they're married. This is important.
They were already married, technically.
Technically, they were.
Yeah, but they have to be legal.
Pretending.
They have to be actually married. They can't do it fake marriage. That's no.
No, okay. Remember, kids, in this period, Christianity was banned. So if you said something like that, if you said that, you just, get killed. Straight to Samurai Champloo, you should go watch. There's also a movie about that is actually very interesting, but I don't remember the name.
It's actually a whole arc in the Rurouni Kenshin TV series. It's not very good, but they reference like this whole village that are Christians, and they basically the government comes down and wants to murder them all. But they did murder them all, and then there's survivors and gotta finish the job kind of deal. So anyways, I really liked Tomoe's character and her role she played in this, and it's a big role, to say the least.
It is. She's seeking revenge, first of all. She's seeking revenge. We discover after that she's actually a spy as well. So, you know, she's the spy. She was seeking revenge. She actually falls for the main character. She's the main character's, you know, Kenji first love, where he kind of recovers his way of, you know, I shouldn't be going around killing people.
Would you qualify it as a bit of Stockholm Syndrome?
Yes. There's not really other way to describe it, because she starts spending so much time with him and understanding his circumstances and why he did what he did, and you know how he felt, and it was like I destroyed your life. He says that, like, I destroyed your life. I killed the person who was really important to you, and I should be killed by that and things like that. So kind of, it qualifies as Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, in a way it is, but as soon as she finds out, like, again, his circumstances and everything, who he is, she doesn't blame him at all. You know, it's of the time. She just goes, yeah, that's how shit works, as well.
That's how mafia works. just dead memes all around. No, yeah. I mean, it's the good thing is it is very historical accurate for an anime. You know, when we have an anime where the Bakumatsu is actually a idol group, and you know, you have with a bunch of Oda Nobunaga's, different Oda Nobunaga's, from a woman Oda Nobunaga to a mecha pilot Oda Nobunaga. If an anime is historically correct with Japanese history, you should be praised, and it's something they touch about. Like it's the way of living in Japan. And it happened. He was, you know, patrolling the streets and got killed. And you know, although she seeks revenge, she kind of understand it. She kind of, I still think it's part of the Stockholm Syndrome, because she internalized the way he feels about things, and kind of start thinking like Kenshin things, where that's just the normal.
Yeah,
where
it's
in the
just
beginning,
normal life,
she's like, it doesn't matter if it's the normal. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. I'm gonna shake him. But you know, after a while, she started internalizing and seeing bodies falling to the ground as Kenshin just slaughter people. She kind of internalized this feeling of this is his life and I shouldn't blame him. Very Stockholm Syndrome like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's just murdering.
Good old-fashioned assassinating. So, Tori, I'll ask you this, since you've been on the little quiet side here. Did the kind of somber and slow middle 2 episodes, did it set up everything properly, run too long? The slowness of this area of Kenshin and Tomoe being the fake married couple in the fields, how'd you feel about all that?
No, I mean, obviously it's been a while since I watched it now, but like, it's, from what I remember, like I did like it, because it does ultimately work to set up everything towards the end, and it's kind of nice, right? Because this OVA could easily have just been like, ultimately, let's watch Kenshin slaughter people until the end, and then, you know, getting betrayed. It wouldn't be bad. It was entertaining.
Yeah,
it was entertaining.
Routine and things like that. Yeah,
but at the same time, I feel like, you know, it makes sense for the story to kind of slow down a little bit and to take his time with his characters, right? Because you don't want to fall into the other trap of the trap of like a lot of other action series. Like, for example, recently, Akamega kill, right? There's a lot of killing. There is a lot of killing. What is it all for? Who cares? There's a lot of killing.
Right.
It could have easily fallen into that. So I feel like for them to take that decision to step back a little bit, that was nice, and it made me appreciate the show a lot more.
It gets you right into the character's mindset, and because one character is going through the understanding, you, the viewer, starts going through that same emotional track. And it worked both ways, which I thought was done brilliantly.
Some nice characterization.
Yeah, I mean, it not only helps, all those things, but it also kind of takes Kenshin away from the historical events, right? He just get away from the Bakumatsu and things like that and start hiding. So you start at that point being farmer, faking a marriage. You start seeing the actual beginning of the series, where he's not part of any historical things. He's just going around minding his business in that time period. He's not part of the Bakumatsu. He's not trying to kill the shogunate. He's not fighting the Shinsengumi. He's just a samurai, a ronin, a samurai without a master, just going around. And basically, that's the beginning of the Kenshin we see in the series, the TV series.
So, then we have OVA episode 4, the culmination of it all. Was it worth it? Did it pan out right? Anything disappointing? Did Tomoe kind of get what she deserved? Did Kenshin become the epitome of the gullible teenager to it all? Because just some random dude comes up and he goes, yeah, she's really a spy. Do I work for the Bakumatsu? Sure.
I mean, the biggest problem is they set up the very cliche thing in the anime. Also, I got the wrong name for her brother. Her brother is called Yukishiro Enishi, and he sees the last fight, right, which is kind of cliche, and then in the anime he goes seeking revenge for his sister Tomoe. Of course, you don't know it, because technically you should watch this series first and get intrigued by why he's seeking revenge. Then you go watch the OVAs and you see that still, instead of being so in that case, instead of creating a cliche in the series, it will be just disappointing, in my opinion. Because it is very dumb, right? She just she jumps in front of the guy, the main bad guy for the 4th episode, and got slaughtered by Kenshin by accident, because he's drugged. He fights some ninjas, and the ninjas kind of poison him. He tries to kill the guy in one single hit, and Tomoe tries to protect him. Not the bad guy, tries to protect Kenshin, and gets killed in the process. So Enishi is looking at that and sees it and say, Kenshin is actually the bad guy. And he was told by the bad guy from the 4th episode that Kenshin is actually the bad guy. And he grows up thinking that Kenshin was the bad guy who slaughtered his sister. Then in the last arc, you see Enishi trying to... that's a spoiler for the series.
That's okay.
No, I won't spoil this TV series because I'm very nostalgic of it, and I feel like people should watch it because it's very fun.
I think the first 45 episodes of the series is fun.
Oh yeah, the 45 episodes, they're not Din. Because Din only started making the TV series like halfway through.
Yeah, that's probably
regardless. So so if you watch the OVA first, which I don't recommend, it creates a cliche on the TV series. If you watch the TV series first, the 4th episode of the OVA is kind of a cliche, letdown, disappointing thing. I was like, that's the misunderstanding with a misunderstanding, slaughtering of innocent people.
I don't know. I agree that it is a bit of a cliche ending. But again, it's kind of like for me, I'm fine with it because it pretty much builds up against this. You knew with all the foreshadowing and whatnot, you knew something like this. Not necessarily exactly how it happened, but you knew something like this was going to go down. So for me, I'm fine with it. And obviously, I haven't seen the TV series, and honestly, I have no intention of ever watching the TV series because
You should watch. It's quite fun.
I don't care about Rurouni Kenshin at all. But I did really enjoy the OVA. Like, it was one of those things where it was like I had it recommended to me like 100 times, and it's just like, sure, fine, let me watch it, and then I did, and it was pretty good. But the TV series for me, it just doesn't sound like something I'm interested in at all.
It's a shonen
So, yeah, exactly.
It's almost a shoujo, but let's play that. The way Rurouni Kenshin worked, I bet there was a Norwegian dub at some point.
I hope not.
It went on television on every single fucking country of the world.
Actually, let me look that up. You guys keep talking. I'll check that.
All right. So
but
I
the
really
fighting
like this.
sequences, they were amazing in the 4th episode with the ninjas. Because, when Kenshi was fighting through them, when the ninjas, they were not killed, but they were severely injured, they would just go to a bomb and like suicide bomb trying to kill Kenshin with them.
Yeah,
and
they know they're
scene,
dying, so they might as well try and take them.
Yeah,
with
there
them
was
kinda
like
deal.
this one scene where the guy just finds the trigger to the bomb and he's crying. So like he just cries and pulls the thing and explodes. So you have like this sequence of the explosion expanding towards Kenshin.
Mm-hmm.
Dean, what happened to you?
a lot of good instances like that. I agree.
A lot of good instances.
My favorite thing, like I've already gushed about the show of a lot of things, but one thing I have yet to touch on is the use of sound. This was my favorite thing in the show. The whole somber feeling, the atmosphere that sound always played in the show, and I looked into it a little bit more. The guy's name is Shoji Hata. Okay. And some of the things he's worked on, being sound director, is things like Aka 13, the new Boogie Pop series, One Punch Man, Ancient Magus Pride. So a lot of series with good music and sound, right?
Yeah, this guy is one of the good composers of anime.
Yeah,
one of the 5.
Fairy Tail too.
Well, it has a good soundtrack. Yeah.
Fairy Tail has good music. Yeah.
Took it one step further. He's a recording engineer, head recording engineer in Serial Experiments Lane, which is all music and sound and atmosphere, and even Death Note.
Static noises everywhere.
And he also did what's that? Oh my god. Holy shit? What's it called? Hold on.
This dude knows how to set up environment and atmosphere, and
Yeah,
as far as I could tell, this was one of his first works.
He also did Kids on the Slope, by the way.
Another music show. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye open for Shoji Hata in the future for shows, and
I mean, the new Boogie Pop is just going.
it's a convoluted boogie. It's Boogie Pop, so it's convoluted mess. So
Shoji Hata is also apparently set to be sound director for the upcoming Vinland Saga anime.
Excellent. There you go. I'm excited for that one.
So yeah. Also, I looked it up. There is no such thing as a Norwegian dub for Rurouni Kenshin, and it was never aired on TV.
Well, look up the German or Danish version. That's close enough.
Nah, I'm good.
So yeah, the use of sound and atmosphere, the swords, clinging, he was head dude behind it all, and it all, kind of makes sense now in my head. That was one of my favorite things that stood out in the show. I really liked the ending, as cliche as it was. I thought it fit, and it was set up properly, so things like that can work when executed well.
Yeah, it's all about setup.
And I really like the whole thing at the end where she gives them that one last cut.
I still think it's cliche, especially because I looked at it with the TV series. So it's kind of cliche, but the execution of the episode. Props to the director, by the way, as well. He did an excellent job. directing this OVA, and the execution of the last episode, going through Kenshin life as a normal person, seeing that maybe there's more to life than killing people in the streets.
Oh yeah.
Getting to throw back at that life at the end, again with Katsura appearing and saying, now we are going to take down the shogunate.
Yep.
And going back to that life because his first love was killed by the evil people that are the shogunate. So, we go back to that. The execution is great.
Yep. And speaking of director,
a little bit cliche. Speaking of the director.
Speaking of director, Kazuhiro Furuhashi also directs Tororo this season.
Oh, I didn't see that when I was looking him up.
Yeah, I just saw. So that's cool.
That makes more sense with the fighting sequences and everything, and the sword fights. So cool.
Yep.
I think, so final thoughts here. I think the series even ended on a very good note of Kenshin kind of putting the scarf over the graves, and his master, Seijiro, kind of passes by, and that's like the hint that Kenshin finally understands his master's words. He's moved on, and that kind of cues the TV series where he's the Wandering Samurai. So
he's
really
lucky, happy Wandering Samurai.
So I really like this show. If you guys are ready to score it in final thoughts.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I'll just continue then. I really don't find anything wrong with this at all. There's a reason why this is regarded as something everyone. Yeah, you can hear it coming, can't you, Hickey?
You don't find anything wrong? I know what's going on.
No. Nothing wrong. I'm entertained. This is the 4th time I've watched it through, and it's just as good as the other 3 times. Never been bored by it. I always find certain things new each and every time, which is a good sign, so it has high rewatchability. Hickey, I'm doing it. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. We need a drop too. Well, just a JD drop because
just a JD drop for 10 out of 10.
He's the only person who gives 10 out of 10.
What is this, the 3rd or 4th?
4th.
I can look it up.
It was the 4th, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh man. Oh man.
I mean, it's Samurai X. It's Samurai X. I almost said the name in Portuguese because it's part of my childhood. The TV series. I think it's the first time in this podcast I'm feeling nostalgic. I was feeling nostalgic in all the way. I almost binge watched the series during the night, but then I start talking about. But then I start talking about the Russo-Japanese War. And I bought Hearts of Iron 4, and now I'm playing Hearts of Iron 4. It has nothing to do with the Meiji era, but still. The OVA, from a history point of view, it's very good. To understand a piece of the Japanese history, you need to make a little bit of research, especially because of the names, who the characters are. But it gives you an idea of what happened, especially if you watch the TV series, which is in another era. It's the Meiji era. Still think Samurai Champloo, with its whackness of hip-hop and rap, gives a deepened view, has a deepened view of the Meiji era. But this one, with the fall of the shogunate, fall of the Tokugawa, which was in power since the 1600s. It's very interesting, you have that insight. The execution is perfect. Director-wise, perfect. The sound is great, the characters are great. Everything is great. I'm gonna give it, since I was thinking of an 8 out of 10, but since JD gave it a 10, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Yay! That's as good as Hickey gets.
It is as good as I get.
Damn.
Highly entertaining. You don't need to watch the TV series to watch this. I recommend you watch the TV series because I honestly like it. But you don't need the TV series. You can watch it as a standalone. Really good animation, really good sound, really good characters. What the fuck happened to Dean? 9 out of 10.
So,
and I are in agreement. Oh my god.
We are not in an agreement because...
Well, you refuse to give anything out of 10, so this is as close as we're going to get.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, no, like, again, absolutely. You should watch this just to see Dean do well.
You're really onto that, Tori. You won't let it go.
I am. It's Dean, man. Like, what the hell? But anyways,
like Dean.
Sometimes they do all right, but for the most part, they disappoint me.
Well, did they do all right this time?
They did okay. I'd say that, you know, it leaves a little bit to be desired. All things considered, I don't know. Like, it's honestly, it's a really good show. I had a lot of fun. 4 episodes. I wish this was longer. I wish this wasn't just an OVA. I wish this was the actual full-blown series. If this was the actual series, I would have watched it in a heartbeat. But nope. So the OVA it's really good. So I give it a strong 8 out of 10. It was real close to a 9, but 8 out of 10.
Well, it gets a 9 anyways. From the whole host.
Look, Tony, if you watch the TV series, they will start animating the TV series, I think, episode 63 until the end. So you can actually see Dean being good Dean, having the same Dean who animated this OVA animating the TV series.
No.
Also, Dean made Konosuba, and that counts as a win.
I mean, yeah, they can when they want to. I just wish they want to do good.
They can when they have the money. Usually they have the money, but they just don't spend that in anime.
Why would we hire animators? What the fuck, man?
Why can why should we hire animators if we can just get the money for ourselves? And evade some taxes so we don't give it to the government.
I love you, Dean. Not really.
Alright, so raving review from Samurai X. Trust and Betrayal. And we have an announcement to make since it's the end of the show. Oh my god.
Is it happening?
It's happening. We have another contest coming, and this one's big. This is for our anime listeners out there. If you were looking for a High Dive subscription, then this contest is for you. Because we are giving away to one lucky fan a High Dive gift card in the amount of, I believe it was $15 that was given to us. Hooray! So if you want to enter, just we'd really love an iTunes review. Love it. So if you are a new listener, you can enter via an iTunes review. If you are a returning listener, just prove that you're subscribed somewhere to us, whether it's iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, wherever you listen to our podcast. That's how you enter. Screenshot your subscription or iTunes review for the new listeners out there to any one of our Twitters, which you can find in the description below, and you'll be entered. This will be going on for the entire month, for the rest of the winter season. So you will get, the lucky winner will get the new High Dive subscription at the start of the spring season. You can keep up with the seasonal anime.
Since I think it's like $3 a month for High Dive, so you can not only watch the seasonal shows, but also enjoy the catalog, which is quite good.
And then you can go back and listen to all of our previous reviews of the other High Dive shows you can check out there. So there you go. It works for everybody. So again, just do a screenshot of your subscription for returning listeners. New listeners, leave an iTunes review, and I know who you are.
I know your name.
I know your name. I know where you live. And just screenshot your entry to any one of our Twitters, at BowlingJD, Tori Extra, I believe, or
no, Tori RLR.
Tori RLR, and Mightiest of Hickey.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tori changed the Tori Loves Trap one. No, it's just...
Yeah, I'm thinking of changing it again, but we'll get to that.
And naturally, where would we be without our affiliates, which is Retro Twitch, the Retro Gaming Discord. You can join them at Retro Twitch Con. Yeah. Link found on their Twitter. That's Retro Twitch Com at the end of Retro Twitch. And naturally, our joined network called Anime Radicals, along with a number of amazing anime podcasts out there. So if you're into more seasonal stuff, more comedy focused, different perspectives, Anime Radicals, you can find them at all your favorite podcasting outlets, just like us, iTunes. Spotify, and the whatnot. And hit them up on Twitter at Anime Radicals. There you go. This has been episode 44 of the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition. And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Ray.
It is hot. Holy shit, there's a lot of mosquitoes as well.
I know what you mean. I did laundry this morning, and because of the setup, I increased the temperature in my apartment to, I think it's 30 degrees now, if I put it in Celsius. I think it's too hot for an apartment.
Yeah. That's it.
Outside it is 31. So I'd say it's around 40 Celsius.
44.
I need to get some pesticide because there's a lot of mosquitoes around. I spent the last hour and a half fighting them without making a sound.
You need one of those what do they call it? It's like the coil with the smoke.
Oh no, that shit, like the smell of that is horrible.
It keeps the mosquitoes away. I need to go to the bathroom real bad. I'll be right back.
All right. Oh man. Oh shit, fuck, we forgot to say what we're doing next.
Just change the microphone. That was a fun podcast.
Alrighty. Back.